Hello and welcome to the show. Today, the question that we're going to tackle is how to create a motivating sales compensation plan. The reason why we're tackling this, it's obvious, because salespeople are handled or paid differently in most organizations, and it's a very difficult job. So the question always is, how do you motivate people to get up and do what it is that they're supposed to do what it is that you want them to do? So this episode is going to be for those of you who have employees, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 100, it depends. So, well, first off, doesn't matter whether you're a small startup or if you have hundreds of employees. Yeah, in a sense, it does. You'll find that the principles are the same. Like I say on the podcast, the principles are the same, but then the order of applying it, what we attach priority to, and how we execute is going to be different, depending on whether you have 3 employees or whether you have 300. Now, in the interest of time, I have done previous podcast episodes on these sorts of things, the options that are available to you when it comes to motivating your sales team. So I'd recommend that after listening to this episode, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, you go to YouTube, so you can search within the podcast, and then just hit my name, and then hit sales team, or hit my name, put motivation, or put my name, and then put compensation, those sorts of things. And then you'll find podcast episodes where I have discussed these sorts of things, so you can get a fuller context of the whole conversation. Now, traditionally, salespeople's motivation, how do we deal with all that? Traditionally, this has been done by variable compensation. So you have an organization, everybody collects fixed salary. MD collects fixed salary, CEO, fixed salary. Who else? The cleaner, fixed salary. But then, when it comes to the salespeople, because the assumption is, and I'm one of those people who's behind it, that those of us who are in sales, we are more money motivated than other people in the population. So we care about a couple of things, independence, being able to set your own schedule, money compensation. You work hard, you should be able to get something good in return. And so because of that, traditionally, salespeople have been compensated in a variable sense. Now what that means is you get a base and then you get an upside of performance. Although there are some industries where it's 100% commission. For those of you who've been listening to the podcast for the last 2-3 days, you remember the episode where I spoke about my conversation that I had with the head of corporate communications for the Abuja Property Development Company. Yes, and how they market their projects, their property developments, by attaching marketing units to a specific site. And those marketing units are made up of agents who work 100% commission. So yes, there are some of those industries where people are 100% commission. So go out, bring as much business as you can. I'm not giving you a salary, but whatever you bring back, you take 10% or whatever. So those are the options. 100% commission. I am not going to talk about that now, although I'll point out one thing. There are some of us who hear 100% commission and you think, man, that is harsh. Like, that is really, really crude. But the thing is, you already live the 100% commission lifestyle. Most of you listening to this podcast episode, you just don't realize it. Because once I was talking about how 100% commission is harsh, and then somebody pointed out, like, dude, what are you doing? Are you not on 100% commission? And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. If I don't bring in anything, I don't eat because I'm self-employed. So, yeah, variable 100% commission sounds harsh. But the thing is, a bunch of you listening to this podcast, you don't know it, but you actually are on the 100% commission lifestyle. So you better realize that and better up your game because, you don't bring in anything, you don't eat. If you have a girlfriend, you have those uncomfortable conversations. And if you have a wife, you have those uncomfortable conversations. If you have children, you will definitely have those uncomfortable conversations. Dad, I want to go and skate. No, you're not going to skate. Why? I want to go and skate. No, you're not going to go and skate. At the back of your mind, you're thinking, okay, if I go to the skating rink, one child is 4K. I have 4 children. If I take them to the skating rink, 4 times 4, that is 16K. 16K only on skating. By the time we get there, they'll want Fanta. After Fanta, they'll want chips, they'll want biscuits, blah, 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 blah. So basically, if we go to the skating rink now, I can end up spending just like 30K, just like that. So Yeah, most of you are already on that 100% commission lifestyle. So just realize it and let's step our game up so that we can stop having uncomfortable conversations with our wives and with our children and with our husbands and with everybody else. Like village association meeting. December is coming up. Your contribution is supposed to be so and so. We haven't heard from your branch of the family. Yeah, all those conversations are going to start coming up soon. Now that we're in September, and before you know it, October, November, December. So, where was I? Yeah, so traditionally, variable compensation. Some people 100% commission. Other people will say, look, every month I'm going to be giving you 50K. But then if you perform like this, we add something. If you perform like that, you add something. That is the whole idea behind variable compensation. Take this small money, start now. Use it to fuel your car, buy good clothes, brush your teeth, buy soap. But then you perform well, I add this. You perform well, I add this. Yeah, so that's it. Well, there are some modern sales teams, and I find this really, really weird. I've had to coach, I had to work for one client who had a sales team that was on salary alone. And I must admit, I found it kind of weird. We started having those conversations about how we could introduce a variable element. So this salary alone thing, it's a modern phenomenon. So it's something that I'm waiting to hear more about and to see studies on how that impacts business performance. Now, of course, in Nigeria, we don't study anything. So we have to wait until the good folks in America and in the UK and in Canada and all these places, when the professors in, all those schools, like Harvard Business School and everything, when they start publishing their results, to say we made a study of the top so companies who moved away from variable compensation to fixed compensation salary. This is how it affected performance. This is how it affected profits. So hopefully in a couple of years we should have some academic research to show us whether this thing is true, that salespeople perform better the more money you give them, the more variable compensation you have, or whether if you just pay everybody a fixed salary, it doesn't matter. Profits will still go on the same. But from my uneducated standpoint, because I'm not an academic when it comes to business matters, I really would be surprised if this whole thing of pay everybody a fixed salary and tell them to go and sell, I'd be surprised if it actually moves the business forward. So, oh, by the way, if any of you guys are interested in these sorts of things and you have any research, then please hit me up. My contact details at the end of the show. Let me see whatever resources that you have. I'd like to pay attention to it, get educated, and then come and share the results with people over here on the podcast. So, yes, I mentioned how motivating your team, salary, blah, 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 all of this is important. And I mentioned how sometimes it's different depending on whether you're a small startup, whether you have 2 or 3 people, or whether you have 200 or 2,000, how it's different. And this is going to be one of the differences. If you're a small startups, you need to know your employee motivations so that when you're talking to these people month after month, the one-on-one thing that good managers are supposed to do and good business owners are supposed to do. If you didn't know that now. You should be having one-on-one conversations with all your employees. Even if you're not going to do it for everybody, you definitely need to be having that conversation with salespeople, because know how you will quarrel with your salespeople. That is definite, because you're putting money into this thing. You expect to see some returns. There are times when they'll perform well. There are times when they'll perform badly. So you're not going to be quarreling with your accountant. You're not going to be quarreling with the person who handles your tax. But best believe your salespeople, you will quarrel once in a while, every other month. So it's not a good idea that the only time you sit down with your sales staff, it's people are coming to come and do quarrel. Why are you not doing your work? Why is your quota like this? Why is your whatever? So we need to have good cadences, meetings that we have with people, whether it's every Monday or every other Monday or every first Monday of the month. It doesn't have to be a Monday, by the way. Just pick whatever your fancy is. It's just that while I was in the insurance world briefly, it was a Monday, and I noticed that for other companies, it seems to be a Monday thing. So there's that Monday meeting. But then there are other organizations I know who make it a Friday thing. But you need to get to know your employees, get to know their motivations, so that when you're having all these conversations around financial performance, compensation, salary, blah blah blah, you can tie it into concrete terms of what these people's goals are. So if you know that somebody is let's say maybe they grew up rough. Everybody went for masters. They didn't go for masters. They've decided that their children must go for masters. You can weave in those sorts of things into into the conversations. Like, okay, oh, how is Kunle? How is Kemi? Like Kunle and Kemi being the children, how are they doing? Okay, secondary school. Oh, that means you're now getting ready for let's see, what is it called again? Is it GMAT? Abi? GMAT or GCSEs or whatever. So ready for GMAT, ready for GCSEs. I hope you're ready. You know, these things are expensive, blah, blah, blah. Some small chat. And, and then you, of course, tie that into their performance at the company. That, okay, look, we're doing good based on what we did last year. This is how much we made. But if you're able to perform at so, and so, we should be able to match the salary with this, and this. And Omo, it should make your life a whole lot easier so that next year, when Kule and Kemi, when they give you the bill that, okay, this is the school we want, whether the school is Malaysia or whether the school is Canada or whether the school is America, you should be able to perform. So you should be having those conversations, get to know your employees. That is possible when you have a 2 or 3 man or woman sales team. When you know 2,000 people, 2,000 people in your company, how you handle them? So hopefully your sales manager will be having those kinds of conversations on the small level. But you need to get to know your people. You need to know what's up, what's going on in their lives. Sometimes it's just simple headache issues or heartbreak issues or personal issues or whatever, and somebody's going through a funk, and you can talk some people through some stuff, because things can be rough. The country is not soft right now, so people are going through stuff. So even if it's a simple thing, during the one-on-one, like, how far, like, I noticed you've been somehow, your face is not bright, like, what's going on? You have some simple conversations on a one-on-one, not on a business level. Now you help talk people through some challenges, because you can relate as a human. These sorts of things help. They feel seen, they feel heard. For those who are extremely money motivated or have very direct money goals, you guys can have that conversation and see how it's tied to company performance. But if you're a small startup, basically what I'm trying to say is get to know your employee. You guys should be vibing. You guys should be talking. And once a month, I really think is not enough. Just pick a day of the week. Every Monday, whatever it is. There's that general thing where the salespeople sit down, you guys have a chat. These are the numbers. This is where we're heading. You talk some personal development. You do some motivation. Bring, jazz everybody up. But then you have a small team. Try and do that one-on-one thing. You really need to know what's going on. And then it also helps you to have much more effective conversations when things go bad. Because if all you do is, when things are bad, you now show up and you quarrel, you begin to rake, you shout up and down, that sort of thing. There's a limit to how much coaching or personal influence you can have on these sorts of people. But if you guys have been meeting on the one-on-one, you've been talking, you've been yarning, you have some kind of personal relationship, don't overdo it, because, you're not their friend, you're their boss. And, this is Nigeria now. We don't take talking back very lightly in this part of the world. Like, I'm paying your salary, I say A, you say B, like, on top what? So that kind of thing. But anyway, establish some sort of relationship. You will be able to have sales, personal development, conversations, and all those sorts of things. So let's move on beyond that. That's for those of you who have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 employees. Get to know your people. So let's have some words now on bonuses and other incentives and how that affects morale, motivation. Because I've spoken about salary structure, 100% commission or not, and then variable compensation, that's a base, some monthly stipend or something, then plus a percentage just to reward you. But there are some other things in between, and that is where bonuses and incentives come in. So there are short-term bonuses traditionally that people use, based on how you perform, monthly or quarterly or yearly. So, okay, let me go back to the insurance thing. So, like with in the insurance, that's typically how it's done. So you're meeting your quota and everything, but if you're performing at a certain level quarterly, there's some things you'll be getting yearly at the end of the year, where they fly everybody to Lagos, especially the top performers, or fly to Abuja or wherever your headquarters is. There will also be some bonuses as well. Then let's see. Okay, there are also long-term incentives, like really, really long-term incentives, but that is for big organizations where they say, okay, you know what, we've been very good in Port Harcourt. We now want to enter this Abuja market. Abuja, that's where all the ministers are, the politicians, so there's money there. We now want to enter Abuja market. You now start giving people long-term incentives. Like, okay, if we enter Abuja in the next 1 year or 2 years, if we're able to acquire this number of clients or to corner this part of the city or to do this or to do this, but really long-term stuff, then this is what we're going to do. You'll be given this as a salary, or you'll be given, I don't know, official car or whatever, but this is long-term stuff. So all these bonuses and all these sorts of things, they can... Okay, one more thing, team bonuses. Now, this is not something I have seen working in Nigeria, but it's stuff that I have heard a lot about. So I'm confessing now, I have not seen, mine eyes have not seen team bonuses in Nigeria, but I have heard that they do this in the UK and in America. And this is where basically the goal is on the team. So if all of you now, you four as a team, you will hit this, then, 250K, go and share among yourself, that sort of thing. Yeah, if any of you have worked in organizations in Nigeria where they used team bonuses as part of the motivation framework, please let me know. Reach out to me. My contact details will be at the end of the show. I'd like to hear what scheme your company used and what your experience was. So also I can go and share with other people listening to the show, because in Niger, typically it's every man for himself. So yeah, we all have the sales meeting, you try and motivate everybody, but then every man for himself. You finish the meeting, Sade will go and sell how she wants to sell, Kunle will go and sell how he wants to sell, Abdul Kadir will go and sell how he wants to sell. If Abdul Kadir and Kemi think that they can collaborate on some things and improve their chances, but that's more like an inside thing amongst them. But let's see how, if it's possible, or what Nigerian companies have done on team bonuses. Then, even though salespeople are supposed to be money motivated, I am very money motivated. I'm glad I know myself, as in I need the money. But money is not just the only part of the equation. So people are also motivated by recognition. So sometimes a quiet conversation where you pull somebody and say, Abdul Kadir, good job. That deal that you brought, like we were in a tight spot. Nothing that you brought, that deal that you brought, that 4M, nice one. It's going to keep the company going for a while. You saved us. You're a treasure. Correct guy. A simple conversation like that is enough to motivate some people. Although my wife says, to hell with recognition, give me the money. So that's what my wife says. Although, to be honest, I think she's a recognition person herself, because wifey is very cerebral. And like most professional women, they have a personal or professional stake, in how it is that they perform. So the whole thing of, you're capable, you're intelligent, you're driven, you have done a good job, you have saved the department. Things go a long way like that to those sorts of individuals and those sorts of women. So let's remember recognition. So publicly acknowledge people when they perform well. So publicly, that works. But like I said, calling somebody aside for a chat to say, my guy, you saved us, that also works. Then in the West, America, USA, there's trips and prizes. Okay, you've done well. Take this card, or take this trip. Travel here. Go and buy this. Go and buy that. I haven't heard of Nigerian companies doing that. So if you've worked with a company while you were in a sales role and this is how they motivated you guys, maybe like you did well and they say, correct, you and your wife, take this flight, we should go and enjoy in Obudu Cattle Ranch, that sort of thing. If you receive those sorts of things, reach out to me. My contact details at the end of the show, so that I can come back here, make a follow-up episode to say that, these are other ways that Nigerian companies are motivating their staff. So tips and prizes. I'm going to do some work with a custom bag manufacturer in Abuja on October 1st. They're doing like a staff retreat. So I guess it could be one of these things. So it's a staff retreat and training. I'm going to come and talk to them about the team cohesion and how how everybody's work every department's work in the business creates a healthier business, a much more profitable business as a whole. So that would be the whole point of the talk. But then, of course, there'll be plenty of chops, plenty of relaxation. The office is going to be closed that day. It's not going to be any work. So I guess we can say it's that sort of thing. Even though no prizes are going to be given out, and even though it's not going to be a trip, because everybody will be out of the office, but it's not a trip. So yeah, those sorts of things are there. Then you can also motivate your sales staff by investing in their professional development. So invest in their training. And to be honest, I'm not sure if Nigerian employees value this because, currently we have hyperinflation right now. So there's some people who will be like, look, just give me the money. I know this I was going to say I know this for a fact, but let me not say I know this for a fact. This is like my own guess from the outside looking in. So it looks like in the civil service, professional development works well, but that is because the thing is tied to ESTA code. You will go and do professional development, something. Okay, the training is in Lagos, so we'll pay you, go and book hotel, go and this, go and that, and then the person will try and see how they can save some money on the whole thing. And then if it's foreign training, even better, they'll collect the money in hard dollars and they'll try and see how much they can save when they go for these sorts of things. So professional development schemes, civil service, it seems to motivate them a lot. Although I hear from the outside that, they've now turned it into a sort of, how do I put it? That is not tied to performance, but basically like people that if you want to settle your guys, and that's what you do, but it's not really tied to how people perform. Anyway, so those are just some thoughts around this whole thing about professional development. But I think you should be investing in the training and development opportunities for your staff, and this is the reason why. While your staff are with you, if they're not trained up, they're not going to do a good job, your business is going to suffer. There is that fear that if you train them up, they're going to leave. Well, I have some bad news for you, dear business owner. And the thing is, everybody leaves. Well, not everybody, but most people leave. So whether you train them or not, they're going to leave. So I think you might as well just train them so that they can be the most effective that they are right now. But then again, the kind of people that you have, and that's the reason why I say that when it comes to hiring salespeople, we don't look at CV. We first of all hire people who hear word. Somebody who used to hear word is the person that can take advantage of professional development opportunities. Somebody who does not hear word, who thinks that they already know what's up, and who thinks you can't tell them anything. It doesn't matter how many trainers you bring in. The thing is not going to shift gang, as in nothing will happen. So let's make sure that we're hiring the right people from the get-go. Let's see what else. Professional development. Okay, I didn't consider the sales cycle and how complex that the product is. So traditionally, when you have people dealing with a short sales cycle, then just make this thing purely based commission. So the deals that can close sharp, close on a daily or close on a weekly, just leave this thing 100% commission. It will be a whole lot simpler to do it that way. But then for long sales cycles, then it now makes sense to combine a base plus commission. So for those of us who tried selling insurance and financial products, that's the reason why it's base plus commission, because you're not going to talk to somebody on Monday and then close the deal on Friday, get them to buy insurance. So most likely you talk to the person, week 1, and maybe in week 12 something happens. But you understand that between week 1 and week 12, this guy that is doing the selling, or this babe that is doing the selling, she needs to fuel her car, brush her teeth, make hair, buy food, all these sorts of things. So that's why in that space, it's base plus something. So this base, the 50K every month or the 100K every month, is not supposed to improve your life. It's just to make sure that you get to work, your clothes are clean, you brush your teeth, you don't die of hunger. Then the rest is up to you. If you do well, the money will go up. If you do poorly, you stay where you are with that base. In fact, if you don't bring anything for 3 months, manager will now call you and say, look, man, we've been paying you 50K every month for the last 4 months. You haven't brought in a single something. So, oh boy, how far? Shape up or get out. So the sales cycle, the length of the sales cycle, and how complex the product is determines whether you're going to do 100% commission or this whole base salary or base money or stipend, plus incentive to perform. Then one thing that I want to restate that I've said in older episodes that I want to say again, just in case it's your first time listening to the podcast and you're a business owner and you're thinking about these sorts of things. When it comes to reviewing and adjusting the plan, because everybody will review and adjust, because you're not God, you don't know what's going to happen. So you have a plan that seems to work for now. Then the president comes in and makes an announcement, fuel prices triple, and I guess the plan doesn't work anymore. So you have to review that plan, because when you do that, cost of business goes up. You might not be able to increase the price immediately. So the big money you were paying your people before, I guess you might not be able to pay them again. So if before what you were giving them was above every 1M, you give them 20%, and then the president comes in, makes this policy change, it will now be harsh, because you can't really increase your prices, double or triple your prices. So sad to say, but this is one area where the business owner will try and save costs. So if you have to review or adjust the plan, do this sparingly, because some people will just be reviewing anyhow. Because I've heard of some companies where you review it in January, then in March you're reviewing, then in June you're reviewing. I mean, before the year is up, you've reviewed like 4 or 5 times. That thing really messes with salespeople, because sales is hard. And if somebody's working now and he's used to this 20%, the guy is counting on that 20%. The baby is counting on this 20%. Like, she needs to pay her rent. She's counting on that 20%. So if the time comes and she's expecting to see that check for 20%, but what entered her account was 9% or 12%, it affects motivation and people's ability to perform. So don't just be flip-flopping and be changing the thing anyhow. Also, let people know what's up. Give them a heads up. So, president comes in, makes the announcement. You give people a heads up at the Monday meeting. Like, okay, we're here, blah, blah, blah. You guys heard what happened. We'll have to increase our prices. We'll not be able to triple it. But I'm suspecting that, we have to make some changes in the future. I might have to look at people's compensation again. But let's just use this next 1 month, 2 months. Let's see how the numbers pan out. You've had that meeting. You've told them. So in February, when you now come to say, okay, you know what, this 20%, I can't be giving you guys this 20% anymore. I'll now be giving you guys 8% or something. You've given people time. It's not a surprise. You don't look like a thief or an unserious person. And you've created an atmosphere where you guys can start having those difficult conversations, so that if somebody wants to say, I can't deal, you guys will be able to end your relationship on an amicable basis. So give people a heads up that the compensation structure is about to change, and always try and explain the changes, not just from the point of view of the business, but from the point of view of the people, the sales team as well. So there are some companies during COVID, for instance, where they had to have that conversation. Like, look, I know I've been paying you guys on X%, but this is what is happening. This is what is happening because of COVID. Profit has gone down. I can't keep all of you on salary. So if we're going to keep everybody, then the base might have to drop. After all, we're working from home now, so let's just drop the base by this amount. And you have that conversation basically. So from the business point of view, this is what we're seeing. Then also from their own point of view, because some people also value job security. So it is a legitimate conversation to have, that look, if I'm going to keep paying people this 20%, I'm not going to be able to keep all of you. So this is the reason why we're making these changes. But summary, what I've been saying on the podcast, and I'm repeating again: pay people when you promise to pay them, and then pay them as you promised to pay them. Don't be changing from month to month and from quarter to quarter. So whatever you said, if you said 19th of every month, pay them 19th of every month. If there's going to be a problem and you can't make 19th of every month, don't tell them on the 17th. It really messes with salespeople's motivation. You let them know as soon as you think you have a problem, that look, you know what, I know normally it's 19th, but more this month, it will be like 23rd, 25th. Have that conversation. Let's see, what else? Okay, so for those of you who are new to the show, maybe you haven't gotten a sense of what it is that we're talking about. Let me just give an example. So you could hire a salesperson, and part of the conversation will be like, look, your base salary that we're giving you is 5M every year. So that means monthly is, you work out however 5M every year, how much the monthly is. However, we're going to be giving you 5% on all sales. So your salary is 5M per year, but if in a year you bring in 20M in sales, then, do the math. 5% on that 20M, prorated on a monthly basis. That's how much the guy or the babe will be collecting. And you also tell them, and on top of that, we have quarterly bonus. So we'll be meeting every three months, so we will meet in January, we'll meet in April, we'll meet in whatever. Then you might get 10% of your base salary if you exceed this number of things. So if you get this number of clients or you get this number of deals, they will now give you 10% of that your base salary. That's of the 5M. And then remember how we're talking about bonuses and things like that. Okay, that's quarterly bonus. Then, some people might even add annual bonus. They say, okay, at the end of the year, if you exceed so and so, we'll also now give you 20% on top. So you see how that's basically the kind of thing that we've been talking about over here. So when it comes to people who work in the accounting department or marketing department, their salary is their salary. If what you told them was 5M, then they're collecting 5M, full stop, nothing more. But then for the salespeople, you see how there's some ginger, like, okay, I'm collecting 5. That 5 is not sweet because times are hard. But if I do well, I'll give extra 10% on all that. And then this quarterly thing, if I'm able to kill it between January and February, that means I'll be able to collect another 10% on my 5M. And you now see how sales teams start planning around these sorts of things. So how can I hit it hard this time? How can I do it like this? How can I exceed this? How can I exceed that? So that's the whole game, basically, about how we keep salespeople motivated. An additional tip: keep it simple, keep it easy to understand, because these things can be hard. I'm not a math person, and I won't lie. When I was with an insurance company, it was overwhelming, the amount of math that you have to know how much you're going to be paid. This percentage of this, and have this on this, and this will be prorated by this, and I'm like, I just want to sell. Like, why are we, like, what's with the marker and then the board and then you write the formula and I'm like, I beg, it's much. So keep it simple. Let people be able to understand. Don't. I know for you accounting people and tax people and everything, yes, people have to keep things very, very precise, but just keep it simple for the salespeople to understand. Then communicate it clearly, communicate it regularly. Make sure everybody understands the plan and how it works. So at that first Monday meeting, explain. In February, at the next Monday meeting, explain. In March, explain. I know after a while it might look as if you're over-explaining, but really it's important. People really need to know how they are paid, what's the formula, when, everything. So repeat it every now and then. Make sure it's a simple formula. Then, competition. Yeah, I forgot competition. Sometimes it also depends. You're entering the space. How much is the competition paying other people and how? Sometimes that is also a factor. If you want to make sure that you're not overpaying people, or sometimes if you want to steal talent. Because like while my mom worked for Globacom, that was the thing that Adenuga, the fellow who owns Glo, that was something he used to do very well. So if everybody is paying so amount, but he wants to attract a particular person, like this person is talented, maybe the person works from MTN or something, the offer would be, this is what they used to pay you, we're now matching this and we're adding plus this. And that's how he would end up getting people to work for his competition and work for him, and there are other businesses who do that sort of thing. So if they're paying salespeople in all other places 10K as base, you can enter into the market and say, okay, base with my own company is going to be 20K. And the idea is that you should be able to get salespeople who work for the competition to rush and then come and start selling for you. So if any of these things that I've spoken about so far sound overwhelming for you, the business owner, yes, it can be overwhelming. So that is the reason why you should be talking to someone with sales management expertise. It also is the reason why I keep saying that to build a successful business, it is a team effort. You can't run everything by yourself. There's some things there's some things that you're good at. You don't know everything. You're not good at everything. So we need a team. So start getting ready. If you're not at this stage yet, start getting ready. Eventually, you're going to need somebody in your corner who has some sort of management expertise, general management expertise, or sales management expertise. So that's it for today. connect with me on LinkedIn. The name to look for is Tabashima Ayede. I'm the host of the show. The spelling of my name, you can get it from the link where you're listening to this episode. So highlight, copy, paste it in LinkedIn. You see my handsome face. Just connect and we can have a chat. Then also connect with me on WhatsApp. The phone number is 080-6466-2140. The country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. And don't fret if I don't respond to you within an hour or two. Things can get kind of busy. But last 48 hours, I respond to everybody. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.